I am a racist. Absolutely. I am a racist. The truth is, for quite some time now, I have preferred black people over white people. That's true. I prefer them as presidents. I prefer them as writers, poets, musicians, dancers, friends. And I'm going to work on that. But
Hello guys, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine wherever you are today. So today's video is about this white person who is going to profess a lot of things about them folks. So when he says this, I kind of think about it. Why are we today having a lot of confessions, especially from white people? Why is it that it is at this point that we are having a lot of them coming online trying to apologize to black people, whatever they did to them? There are coming so many. And there's something that I asked myself about this because I've been seeing a number of videos, them coming out, apologizing to black people, saying that they did wrong to black people. I mean, is it the end times or is it the revelation times where people say that everything will come out clearly and people are setting themselves out because the truth they know shall set them free? I want us to watch this video about this white person who gives his reasons as to why, and he explains that he is a racist. He says clearly that he is a racist, and probably let's hear from him. Let's hear his opinions as why he's confessing all of this today. Why didn't do it earlier? Why is it waiting to do it right now? So let's watch the video and then come back and say something.
I am a racist. Absolutely. I am a racist. The truth is, for quite some time now, I have preferred black people over white people. That's true. I prefer them as presidents. I prefer them as writers, poets, musicians, dancers, friends. And I'm going to work on that. But I'm going to try to speak from my heart about something that I think some people are having a hard time with. And that is my white brothers and sisters who don't necessarily quite understand why Black Lives Matter is not saying that all lives don't matter. I also want to talk about the responsibility of being an ally to minority groups that we are not a part of. We cannot really completely ever totally understand what they've been through, but we want to be an ally, right? And I fear sometimes, especially with what's going on right now, a lot of people are sometimes scared somehow because they think they're going to get it wrong. They don't know what to say. It's I've often joked that when you're gay, we're just happy to have any allies. Even when they get it wrong or they jump on the bandwagon because it's the latest trend, we're just like, hey, come on, you can say anything. It can be a little bit wrong, but we'll take you. And I think sometimes it's a little tougher with the issue of race, perhaps. But this is what I want to say from my heart, And hey, the first thing we've all got to do is accept that none of us are going to get anything right all the time. Everything comes down to intention. You might not say things in a way that really are appropriate, and somebody may give you a hard time for that. But look, at the end of the day, what really matters is your intention. And if your intention is coming from a pure place, then hopefully that will be recognized and people will see that. But I feel that we all have a responsibility to speak up for each other. And we shouldn't be put off by the fear that we're going to get it wrong. What's happening right now is coming from obviously hundreds of years. Somebody posted recently, I don't understand why everybody's still protesting when everybody collectively agrees that, this killing of George Floyd was wrong. It's like, Yeah. At this point, I don't think it's just about the loss of one man. This is about, you know, a million times, however many millions of George Floyds, and years and years and years of systemic racism that, to be honest, I can't really completely ever relate to, because I'm a white man. Now, I'm a white gay man, which gives me a little bit of an advantage in understanding what it feels like to be marginalized, misunderstood. There are countries where, my minority group get, hung or executed just for being what they are. Okay, we're not in a perfectly ideal scenario, but it's not the same thing. I can butch it up and go into any situation, and I don't have to fear that people will immediately look at me and peg me as gay and make assumptions about me, because ultimately I can hide. Well, when you're a person of color, that's not something you can do. So it's a different thing. And people have been living with this for so long. And I think this, obviously, the recent events have sparked, just, basically kind of opened up the floodgates of something that's been going on for so long. And that is the reason why this is happening. And it has become much bigger than George Floyd. It's now a movement, as I saw recently, not a moment, and now I want to be a part of this movement. And there aren't, a lot of things I can personally do to change the world, but what I keep asking myself is, well, what can I do? What are the things that I can contribute? One thing, I created a little video, that was something I could do. I spent a lot of time creating a video that highlights the words of Maya Angelou, somebody who's been a real inspiration to me. And that's something I could do. I'm an artist. I can make this little video as well and put it out on my social media platforms. And it may end up being a complete disaster, but it's being proactive in some way. But I think what's really important, if nothing else, is accepting that what's happening is not a political issue, shouldn't be a partisan political issue. I don't understand, and I never have understood, why is the environment a partisan political issue? It affects all of us. It's like, how has this become like, why is this a sort of liberal versus conservative? No. The environment is like something that's affecting all of us. Well, racism is something that I also feel is just a human issue. And I don't really understand why it would ever be politicized. I think all of us need to be on the right side of this. And if you don't fully understand, one of the things that you can do is educate yourself. I've always loved African American literature, and poetry and things. So even, literally for the last 30 years I've been reading, and that really helps because, reading is such a great way to get inside the heads of a different group, different beliefs. You really do learn a lot, through reading and connecting with characters who perhaps will take you into a world that you have never been and you will never go, but the books do, and also talking. This is the case for everybody. I've always said, one of the most powerful things you can do to affect change is to be in some way part of that change. And I've seen repeatedly people posting on their Facebooks, well, if you voted for Trump, just go ahead and unfriend me. If you, believe this or that, then, and I understand the passion behind it because it's coming from a place of frustration and strong convictions. I understand this, but it's not ultimately going to help anything if we totally close down all communication between ourselves and people who maybe think differently than us. The real way to change things is really the human way, and that is to connect with people. And so, as a gay man, sometimes, over the years, I've been friends with people who were not necessarily comfortable with that. They didn't have a liberal upbringing. Maybe they were very religious, and they had a very different perception of what gay was, or whatever. But by getting to know me, by me not immediately cutting them off, just because as soon as I realized they weren't part of my tribe, or maybe they weren't, totally gonna say the right things, or it's having a certain amount of tolerance for something so that you can educate people by becoming friends with them and or at least keeping the lines of communication open. And I always suggest, like, okay, well, if you don't understand something, if you think all Muslims are, go meet a Muslim and talk to them and get to know them, because when you develop these friendships and you get to know people, they're not just characters or faces that you see on the news rioting or being gunned down in a mosque. It's like, they're actually people that are in your life. And this is so important that we, more than ever, keep the lines of communication open between each other, because this is the most powerful way that we are going to understand each other. We will never all be able to walk a mile in each other's shoes, let's face it, but we can hear the stories of what that walk has been like for others. And when we hear them directly from the mouths of the people that we're getting to know, it helps us understand, helps us to have a compassion for that, that experience that we will never ourselves perhaps have, but you can't ever really be the same once you get to know people who have been through it. And now I have witnessed, all of my adult life, and probably when I was young too, I just didn't, wasn't even aware of it. But systemic racism, you can't deny that it's there. It's there. And I have plenty of friends who have told me this stories, and I have myself been in situations where I have experienced, unfortunately, the racism that my friends were having to endure. And it's, this is something people have been living with every day, every time they go out, every time they go anywhere. So, I guess what I want to say is it's like, if you're a very conservative person politically, accepting that racism exists, and that it's wrong, and that it's something that we need to change, and that it's unjust, and it's immoral, and it's the opposite of Christianity, if that's, your philosophy, and does not in any way whatsoever keep you from being a staunch Republican or an absolutely dedicated conservative, where, it's, I don't understand how this is a partisan issue. We all have a responsibility to each other. And so regardless of your politics or, how you think the government should spend money, where that money should go or whatever, we all need to get on the right side of this. And if you're white and you're a little nervous about how to do it and what to say, I don't know. As a white man, all I can say is doing nothing is worse. Make sure your intentions are pure. If you get it wrong, you get it wrong. But at least you tried. Step up. Recognize that this is happening, and it's happening for a reason. And, and we cannot deny that this has been going on for a long time, and none of us can, for 1 second, pretend like this isn't really messed up. And we all have a responsibility to do everything we can to fix it. So, say something. Reach out. Learn more. Don't be scared of it. Black lives matter. All lives matter. Of course they do. And I could, want to have to say, but gay lives matter every time. But right now, this movement, right now, what's happening right now, this is something about this. Right now, it's like, let's just one movement at a time. We all have a long way to go. Every minority group's got more that they need to achieve. But Black Lives Matter is something we should all be able to stand up and say without feeling like we are in some way diminishing the importance of any other life. Because our black and brown friends, our fellow human beings of color right now, they're hurting, and they need allies. And I would like to say, hand up. I am an ally. I may not always get it right. I will never know what it feels like to be black. I grew up Christian. I'll never know what it feels like to be Muslim, but I dedicate and promise to always try to understand and to always speak up. So, love is the answer. Communication is the next answer. And let's keep our hearts and our minds open, and let's make the world a better place. I'm a racist. What can I say? But everybody is a little bit racist.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing fine again. The story of this white gentleman reminds me of the Blue Eye Brown Eye by Jane Charlotte. Unless you put in a situation of the minorities, that's when you'll understand what they're going through. But it's a little bit fishy of how it thinks. I mean, there's some point I don't agree with him. Why do you have to experience certain type of social behavior so that you know that how black people go through? He has subscribed to some ideologies I don't want to talk about, and he's trying to relate that to how the minorities feel. Do you have to have certain social behavior for you to understand how the minorities feel? This is something which should come from explaining the intention, the way you were saying, explaining the intention. What's the intention of passing a message? Does it come from a pure heart, or are you just trying to make people love what you're saying, or are you trying to promote certain type of thing to people? There is a person who told me that when you see a white person coming out explaining things, there is something that they are trying to promote. For instance, the video that I did recently, someone told me that when they come out online trying to say things, normally there is something they are trying to sell to black folks, and they want black folks to buy. And these can be their books. This can be maybe their shows that they want black folks to look into it. There's always something that they always say, So comparing with this, what this white gentleman here is trying to say, I just don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm allegedly believing that there is an agenda that he's trying to sell to people. However, I will say that if it comes from a place where he's feeling it, that it is genuine, that this is something which has happened to him and he wants to reconcile, you want to come to peace with it, if he feels that it is rightfully for what he's doing, and I mean, it's okay, and it's upon you to come out clear, because it is revelation times, and you need to set yourself free by telling the truth. And that's what's happening. And I've seen drastic changes since the Russian vault was opened. I've seen drastic changes about how people feel about the issue, how people feel generally about black people. And I mean, it's a good movement. And I encourage everyone, including white folks who might be watching this video, to join the movement of saying the truth. Say the truth, however ugly it is, and as you know, the truth shall always set us free. And guys, in this video, I didn't have a lot to say, but I just wanted to question some things that he was trying to say, because somebody woke me up by telling me, if you see these people coming out online saying something, just know that there is an agenda that they always want to sell to you, and they'll pull the risk card to you and trying to tell you, trying to remind you things that happened to you and try to be sorry about them. Man, I don't know. Tell me what you think about this in the comment section. How do you feel about his opinion? How do you feel about his opinion? Is it genuine? Like I've said, for me, if it's genuine, or if it comes from a place where it's genuine, from a pure heart, a person who wants to reconcile, a person who wants to come out free and explain the things that they have always done to them, well, I'll say that it's okay. But if there is an hidden agenda that they're trying to spread, or trying to use, or trying to make it relate with black people so that we can feel remorseful for him or for them, then I don't think it's gonna work, because once we know this, we're gonna stop you, and just like that. So tell me about what you think about this. Tell me what you think about this. I hope you're doing fine on this Saturday weekend. I'm also doing fine. So let's meet on the next video. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.